Hi, I am the group leader for week 5. Um, so the first was the video, Stop Teaching, Calculating, Start Learning Maths. And Conrad Wolfram's goal was to rethink how we approach mathematics and how we could possibly reform mathematics using computers. He talked a lot about the difference between math in the classroom and in the real world. And he had a quote and said that math is a subject that is so dispiriting to so many people in education, yet to the outside world, it is more important than it ever has been before. We rely on mathematics for a lot, and his overall question is really, why do we have this relationship between math in the classroom and math in the real world? And his answer was that computers were the dividing factor. We don't use them in the classroom a lot to do calculations. We spend a lot of time doing calculations in classrooms, and then when you get to the real world, a lot of mathematics is done using computers and machines. And so he said that computers can enhance this relationship because in the real world, math is all about problem solving. He also talked about the 4 steps to mathematics. The first is asking the right question. The second, setting this question up in regards to mathematics. The third is calculating. And the fourth is converting the mathematical answer to something that can be used in the real world. He also stated that in the classroom we spend 80% of the time teaching students to do step 3, which is calculations, but we do this by hand. And he thinks that we should focus on using computers to do step 3 and spending more time teaching students how to do steps 1, 2, and 4. He thinks this because using computers to calculate mimics the real world and allows us to do harder problems and gain experience. The next was the article, Technological, Pedagogical Content Knowledge. It focused on integrating technology into one's classroom and how to teach with technology. It stated in the article that teachers do not consider themselves sufficiently prepared to use technology in their classroom. And it also mentioned that there is no one best way to integrate technology into teaching. It has to be thought about in a creative way to enhance individual classrooms successfully. It also talked about the TPACK framework. There are 3 different components. Content knowledge, which is a teacher's knowledge about the subject matter to be learned or taught. Pedagogical knowledge, teachers' deep knowledge about the processes and practices or methods of teaching and learning. And then technology knowledge is the 3rd component. So I have some discussion questions. The first discussion question is, we spend the majority of classroom time teaching students how to do calculations by hand, yet in the real world, they use machines, computers to solve these types of problems. Should we keep teaching math the way we always have, or do we need a different approach? The second is, when learning to do calculations by hand, students also learn to think logically throughout this process. Can we still learn logic when calculating with computers? And the third is, it was said in the assigned article that teachers do not consider themselves sufficiently prepared to use technology in the classroom. Is there a way we can change this?